I'm going to share this with you really quick. This is an article that I came across. This person lays it out. This is the 19thnews.org. I don't know what that news is, but it says, okay, independent nonprofit. Okay. It says the 19th explains why the Respect for Marriage Act doesn't codify same-sex marriage rights. It says U.S. House approved legislation Thursday to shore up marriage for LGBTQ rights. So this was before it was actually signed. Here's the meat of it. The bill does not codify Supreme Court's 2015 Obergefell versus Hodges decision that grants LGBTQ couples the right to marry. Instead, it forces states without marriage equality laws to recognize LGBTQ plus marriages from other states. It also declares all legal marriages in the United States must be recognized even across state lines. That means if a marriage is recognized in Maine, it must be recognized in Texas. That part seems as critical so that queer families can cross state lines to get married, even if their home state doesn't offer those rights. It also means that married couples can travel without having to worry that a hospital in another state won't recognize their marriage in the event that one spouse has an emergency and another needs to visit or to make medical decisions on their behalf. The same would be true for interracial couples, who the bill also protects, although the justices have not indicated that interracial marriage rights should be reconsidered. What does this bill mean for people who are already married but live in a state that bans LGBTQ marriage? LGBTQ plus people who are already married in states that bans would continue to be married. LGBTQ people who want to get married in 32 states without equal marriage rights would have to cross state lines to get married, and their home state would have to recognize their union. Like I said, it's not codified into law federally. National LGBTQ Task Force Director Liz Seaton added, however, that many states would likely face tremendous pressure not to enforce their LGBTQ marriage bans. So it doesn't codify into federal law. Also, when it comes to the tangibles, let's go here. This is out of AmericanProgress.org. Gay and transgender youth homelessness by the numbers. Let me enlarge this just so that you guys can see it more clearly. It says there are about 1.6 million to 2.8 million homeless young people in America, and a disproportionate number are gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender. We do not have to accept this reality. It says there are approximately 1.6 to 2.8 million homeless young people in the United States, and estimates suggest that disproportionate numbers of those youth are gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender. These vulnerable gay and transgender youth often run away from home because of family conflict, and then face overt discrimination when seeking alternative housing, which is compounded by institutionalized discrimination and federally funded programs. We do not have to accept this reality. The federal government has the power to reduce and eventually eliminate rates of gay and transgender youth homelessness while addressing youth homelessness overall. We could just give housing for all. We could just do that. Here, 20 to 40% of the portion of homeless youth population who are gay or transgender compared to 5 to 10% of overall youth population. So 20 to 40% of the homeless youth who are gay or transgender are homeless compared to only 5 to 10% of the overall youth population. 320,000 to 400,000, a conservative estimate of the number of gay or transgender youth facing homelessness each year. Age 14.4, the average age that lesbian and gay youth in New York become homeless. Let's just stop there. Can you remember when you were about 14 and a half years old? Can you imagine yourself being homeless? Can you imagine that? The average age that a teenager becomes homeless because they're gay or lesbian is about 14 and a half years old. And when they go out there and they're subject to the streets, what do they have to do in order to survive? It gets worse. 13 and a half, the average age that a transgender youth in New York becomes homeless. 13 and a half. Babies. Babies becoming homeless. So this is the deeper issue. Yes, codifying gay marriage into law, as well as actually codifying gay marriage into law, you know, beyond just the Respect for Marriage Act is important, but also the tangibles, the concrete material needs of people just in general are absolutely necessary. And the Democratic Party will just skate around this issue over and over and over and over because that means that if they actually improve the material conditions, improve the material needs of people, that means that it will threaten the power of their masters, the oligarchs. And this is why it is so important for us to change the system from the bottom up, because so many people's lives are literally hanging in the balance because they just want to give us surface level, they want to placate to us on the surface while not helping to provide anything materially for those of us, especially that are queer. What did James Baldwin say? You asked me to wait. You asked my father to wait. You asked my my uncle's time, my niece's, my nephew's time. How long can I wait for your progress? He was talking about material conditions. That's what James Baldwin was talking about. One of our queer pioneers. That's what James Baldwin was talking about. So this is one of the reasons why I felt this to be a very important topic to talk about. And as the only queer person in RBN, I feel a responsibility to bring this up. Because the thing is that people think, oh, all the only thing that we have to deal with is gay marriage and HIV, and that's it. No, 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 no. Baby. We're human beings too. And we go through a lot. Housing insecurity, healthcare, police violence. Yes, yes, we have to deal with that too. On top of hate crimes and the sort.